Welcome back to the Media Pending podcast, and we would like to wish you
a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and the like.
We here at Media Pending celebrate Honda Days. We do not endorse anybody who supports Toyotathon, and if you celebrate that holiday, unfortunately, we're gonna have to ask you to leave at this time. But for everyone who,
Merry Chrysler.
I'm okay with that one actually. They've been good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Christmas season. We're here in Santa's workshop, Jason.
Of a sorts, yes, we are. The set looks a lot better than I thought it was once we turned off the really bright photography lights.
That would do it.
Yeah.
We're here. We're enjoying the holidays, and we're here to talk about some ways that you too can enjoy the holidays through media, and some things that some might say are pending.
Yeah, we're feeling festive. The first half of because we were going to record this in two parts. We were going to do one in a public park, but it was cold and did not look appealing. So we're going to do one extended episode for our holiday special. We will be going on a bit of a hiatus in December because things get crazy. We're also working on a short film that's going to take up a lot of our time. But we should be back to Media Pending podcast about, I'd say, early to mid-January, maybe.
Who knows? This could be it.
No. Do you know what your yeah, I was about to say.
The last podcast I didn't make it past the Christmas special.
I actually listened to the Top Talks Christmas special earlier this week.
Ooh,
and it was interesting because
revenue.
It's interesting because you got to 12 episodes. That was the 12th episode. This is episode 13 of Media Pending.
I made it.
We've officially surpassed your previous podcast in episode count, not duration, because you did an hour podcast?
Oh yeah, it technically was 11 episodes, but we filmed one, which is still crazy to me. We filmed an episode that was 3 hours long.
Holy crap.
And so we cut it into two, hour and a half, hour 15-minute kind of.
That is wild.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, give us a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today in our special double-length Christmas episode.
Yeah, so we're going to start it off with Christmas movies and Christmas music. We're going to kind of talk about the media aspect of Christmas, content we recommend watching, content that we hold dear, music we recommend listening to, music we don't recommend listening to. And then we kind of want to go into a media depending section where we're going to talk about traditions and, kind of the way that we did Christmas when growing up and things that we want to continue. Jason and I are both married, but we are without offspring or
for now, yes.
kin. And so we're kind of in that stage where, all we can do is plan. So we kind of want to talk about, some things we want to carry on and do with our own families.
Yeah. And it's interesting because unlike the Halloween episode, Christmas is my favorite holiday. It is my favorite time of the year. I love the feeling of Christmas. I love the crisp winter air, the festival of light and brotherhood at the darkest and longest nights of the year.
So poetic.
But that's how I think of it. It is so nice, and I love Christmas.
It is quite literally the most wonderful time of the year. It is a holly, jolly season.
That is what they sing about, for good reason.
There's a couple songs where they say the words holly and jolly.
And Christmas. Many.
You sure about that?
Yeah. So let's see. Are we doing movies or music first?
You have movies.
Okay.
First. So let's go into movies. And for conversation's sake, you have it broken up into different specifications of movies.
For sure.
You wanted to go into where movies you watch every year, movies you watch most years, movies you watch infrequently, and lastly, movies you can't stand. So.
Yeah. So whoopsies. Sorry, not cranberry Sprite. We couldn't find any cranberry Sprite, so we got Canada Dry.
You keep saying cranberry Sprite. It's Sprite Cranberry. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Want a Sprite Cranberry?
All right. So I'm going to go over my every year movies first, and then I'll toss the ball to you, because there are some Christmas movies that I just adore. They bring the Christmas spirit into my heart. and I want to watch them every year. And then there's some that are just heavily nostalgia, and I recognize that. But that's, part of Christmas, right? It is remembering yesteryear. So the movies that I want to watch every year, if I have time, are Klaus.
That's one I still need to watch.
Dude, you gotta watch it.
I think this year I'm finally gonna. I don't want to say bite the bullet because it's not like it's a chore.
Yeah, it's something you want to do though, right? Like,
yeah,
Klaus is just such a happy movie. It is 2D animated, but
it's made to look 3D.
It is a technological marvel. The story is so cute. I just love it. It's at the number one spot. If you have not seen Klaus on Netflix, watch it. It is a little hard to get into at first, but then it gets so good. A Muppet's Christmas Carol, the best adaptation of that story.
I'll allow it. Christmas Story is not really one of those movies that I'm like super.
A Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol, yeah. Did you say Muppet's Christmas Story or Muppet's Christmas Carol?
I think I said Christmas Carol. I meant to say Christmas Carol if I didn't, but we've got it on record.
Yeah, so Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge and all that.
Yeah.
That's a classic story. I'll give you Muppets because it's not really one that I enjoy watching every year. It's a classic story that I feel like everyone needs to watch the movie at one point or another.
Yeah. We're going to have a little bit of a tangent here. There was one year I wanted to watch as many versions of A Christmas Carol in one day as I could.
Wow.
I think I did this for 2 years, and my record, I believe, was 7 versions of A Christmas Carol in one day.
Oh my gosh. That's like 14 hours minimum.
Well, it depends because there are some that are full-on movies and then others that are short. Like I counted the Mickey Mouse.
I watched that one last year, actually. That one's only like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. So I watched 7 versions in one day, and The Muppets Christmas Carol, with a little bit of nostalgia in there, is my favorite version.
You want to know something that like I'm really like kind of forlorn about is I never watched The Muppets growing up at all.
That's a shame.
Muppets Treasure Island, Muppets Haunted Mansion, Muppets.
They're a national treasure.
Christmas Carol. I know. I saw the Muppet movie with Jason Segel. That's about it. And it bums me because I know so many people who grew up watching them, and I wish that I did more because I like them. I like the Muppets. I have nothing against them. I just didn't grow up in a family that pushed those movies as hard.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Muppets movies, not like frequently, but we had them available.
They just don't make them anymore.
Not like they used to. Let's see. So after A Muppets Christmas Carol, we have A Christmas Story. We watch that one every
I don't
year.
like that one.
I recognize that there are elements of that story that haven't aged well and are paced weird. Like, yeah. I recognize that. But this one is heavily nostalgia-based because we watch it on Christmas Eve pretty much every year. We have a special dinner with tortellini, like from an Italian recipe that one of my relatives brought over. So we eat tortellini, we watch A Christmas Story, and then open presents and go to bed.
On Christmas Day or Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve. We open a present, Christmas Eve, the pajamas and such.
Yeah. We'll get into those with traditions later, but when I was a kid, I saw just the clip of A Christmas Story where the kid gets his tongue stuck to the
iconic.
pole.
So good.
And that made me never want to watch it because as a kid...
I know, it's like, ugh.
I got my tongue stuck to a pole, to a stop sign when I was a kid. I was at the bus stop in the morning and I stuck my tongue to it and it got stuck for only like 10 seconds or so. Like I got it off, like it wasn't like frozen solid. But this was before that. And then afterwards I saw that clip and they like I don't actually know what happens in the movie, but it looks like they come with like a buzzsaw. And
No, they don't. They call the fire department and they just we see off screen, like he gets it off screen, but it's implied that they poured hot water.
That's what I would think they would do. But as a kid, I thought it was implied that the fire department came and I thought, fire departments are axes and stuff.
Yeah,
and
no,
I thought they like took a little saw and like tried to shave off as little of the skin as they could.
Negatory.
Yeah. So that part bugged me. And I was like, I don't ever want to watch this movie ever again.
All right. My next one is a little bit controversial. It is the Penguins of Madagascar Christmas special.
I've never seen that.
It's called A Christmas Caper. For a while in the early 2000s and late 2000s, they did like ABC Family would have special DreamWorks stuff that they like special Christmas
Yeah,
things.
the Shrek had a couple. Shrek had a Halloween one too. I remember watching those.
But I love the Penguins of Madagascar Christmas special. I own it on YouTube, so I can watch it anywhere I want. I bought it. It is really funny. I love it.
I have one that kind of fits into that category of.
Do you want to share it now or wait till your list? Is it on your list at all?
I don't really have a list.
Okay,
but I'm just
so-
gonna kind of ad lib. It might be on your list though, so I'll let you continue, and I'll just say if you've got it.
Is it a Phineas and Ferb Christmas special?
It is,
because that's the next one underneath Penguins of Madagascar.
That is one of my favorite Christmas specials of all time. Unironically, I think
It's really good.
I think the Phineas and Ferb Christmas special is just, I don't know, it's just really nostalgic.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Christmas morning, so much fun. Down the stairs, the children run.
Yeah.
Someone is eating the cookies. Look what's left under the tree. Next up, the Seinfeld Festivus episode.
I never watched Seinfeld.
I watched a bit of Seinfeld, not all of it, but there is a made-up holiday on December 23rd called Festivus, and we celebrate it in my household and watch the episode.
What do you do for Festivus again?
So it's 3 parts. We only do 2. It is a Festivus feast where you invite people over and have a big meal. And then it is the airing of grievances where, quote, I've got a lot of problems with you people. And you just tell everyone what you have a grievance with them about.
Is that the part you don't do?
No, we do that part. We don't do the Festivus feast.
Oh, you don't do the Festivus feast? That was the last one I was thinking you were going to cut out. I was like, a feast is so easy.
No, it's just a normal dinner. We're going to have a feast of sorts on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. So like, 3 in a row is a little much.
That's fair. Actually, that makes more sense.
And then the last one is feats of strength, where in Seinfeld, it's mostly like wrestling. Like, come over here and fight your father. But what we do is like arm wrestling and like pioneer stick wrestling, that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get together with your family. You're like, you drive me crazy. Now come over here and let me beat you in an arm wrestle.
It's mostly like joke grievances, like just running gags.
You should invite me over to your family's Festivus one year, and I'll just come and just be like, Jason, I absolutely hate you. Just like your family just be like,
the only reason I'm working with you is because you have an iota of ambition. That's it.
The only reason we're still friends is because I'm too much of a coward to say that I don't enjoy hanging out with you anymore.
Yeah. Yikes. That would suck.
That'd be a fun Festivus.
It's a Festivus for the rest of us. All right. Anyway, moving on. The last one on my every year is Justice League Comfort and Joy, an episode of the Justice League animated series, which it feels a little weird, I admit it, but it's funny for a couple of reasons. So there's multiple storylines going on at once, and they all go over different elements of Christmas, of kind of a festival of brotherhood, of being with loved ones, of getting the perfect gift. Probably my favorite joke in the entire episode is Superman still thinks Santa delivers presents to his house. And his parents say, Clark, it was so fun. We had to wrap his presents in lead foil so he couldn't see them. And then he without breaking, he's like sipping hot chocolate. And he's like, you mean Santa wrapped them? Like, of course, Clark.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. And then he's like under the tree later holding it up. X-ray vision noise happens. Lead puts it down. And then the emotional core of the episode is the Martian Manhunter, who is Joan Jones. He has never experienced Christmas, and he gets brought into the Clark household and gets to experience the season of joy. And it's just lovely. It's cute. I like it a lot.
That does sound fun.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
So those are my every year things, the things I have to watch every year.
I'll say this about, we'll do lists by section.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll do mine next, but I'll say this about yours. That's a lot of things that you're committing to watching every year. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy watching TV shows, but I've just not found myself with time to like commit to rewatching so many. Like,
counterpoint, there are only 2 movies on there. The rest are episodes of television.
that's fair. When I think about like my every year list,
Yeah.
the only two things that really come to mind are Elf, and that's more of just because I always happen to
Yeah,
watch it.
I
It's
don't know.
not one that it's not on my every list as in like, and I guess maybe this is the distinction I need to make. It's not on my list of like, this is a movie I have to watch every year. It's on my list of, this is a movie I end up watching every year because I'll
Okay.
be at my in-laws or my family's house and it'll be on a TV. That's just one that, everyone's always playing. It's not one that I'm like, oh, you need to watch it every year. I think I've seen it enough times to never really want to see it
I
again.
think Elf is okay. It's on my most years list. Like if I have time, I'll get to it, but it's
Yeah.
near the bottom of that list.
Yeah. But every year I try to watch the Phineas and Ferb holiday special. Unfortunately, this is a contentious point between me and my wife, but Nightmare Before Christmas is on my every year list now.
Not by your choice,
Not
though.
by my choice, but because my wife has a tradition of watching it on Christmas Eve every year. That's a sore point for me because
Yeah.
I don't think there's
A
anything.
Christmas Eve movie, though, I don't buy that. I don't like that.
No, I hate it. I'm like, there is. I don't want to get into this because if she ever sees this,
Well, I listened to the Top Talks episode where you talked about this.
I probably
recently.
talked about it there
Yeah,
too.
and I agree with you wholeheartedly. It is a Halloween movie in my book, and I can see why she likes it if Halloween is her favorite holiday.
I can see the Nightmare Before Christmas apologists who come up and are like, it's a Christmas movie. And for all intents and purposes, it is a movie about Christmas. Christmas is in the title.
Yeah.
It is set around the Christmas season. The entire plot is about Halloween is not in the movie at all. The movie starts the day after Halloween. So there is no
Okay.
Halloween in the movie. It is all about Christmas, but it is not a cheery movie.
No,
There is a warm message at the end, but it is like,
it's not the vibes I'm looking for.
no,
Christmas.
it is not Christmas vibes for 90%. Even the Christmas land they go to is
It's Tim Burton. Yeah.
yeah, it's eerie. Like I don't like the way that Santa looks. I don't like the way the elves look. I don't like the Christmas village feels like a liminal space.
If I were to watch that in December, it would not be anywhere near Christmas. It would be like maybe early December, how it is now when
Yeah.
it's not snowy.
I know and that's my problem. Is I don't hate the movie. I think it's a fun movie. I like the movie. I like Tim Burton. I think it's like an iconic movie, but I don't know. Watching it, the last thing you do before you go to sleep on Christmas Eve is the very last thing I want to do. And I only stayed up last year and watched it with, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know. Watching it with her because I love her and I
Yeah.
was willing to, but no, it is far. But it's unfortunately it's on my every year list.
That's not even on my some years list.
Yeah, I don't judge you for that. And if anybody listening to this is like, I like it. I think it's Christmas.
Cool.
That's fine.
Good for you. But I don't think it's a Christmas movie. Doesn't fit the vibe, spirit of the season. I just think that you are wrong. It's a good movie for Halloween.
Every year that by choice, probably Phineas and Ferb, Christmas special, and I like to try to watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special.
Yeah.
But
That's in my most years list.
I don't get around to it every year. Oh, and the Grinch. The Grinch is an every year for me. It's like 22 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
You
the
can find it on-
1966 version.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah.
at the top of my most years list. It just barely didn't quite make it in.
My wife and I watch that every year.
It's good.
'Cause
I like it.
That's another one of her movies she wants to watch on Christmas Eve every year. And I'm fine with that.
The last name Ravenscroft, so cool. For that alone, it's worth watching the movie because the guy who sings Mr. Grinch, his last name is Ravenscroft.
Oh,
That's so cool.
I want that last name.
All right, moving on to most years for me. Top of the list, as I mentioned, the Grinch 1966 version. The new one with like Benedict Cumberbatch is okay.
Never saw it.
It's my sister's like favorite version. It would be in her most years, well, every year list.
I think I was abroad
Yeah.
when that movie came out, and it was also done by a production company that I absolutely loathe, so I never planned on watching it.
As far as Illumination goes, it's pretty good, but I
I
don't
heard
think
it
it's
doesn't
as
follow the story at all, though.
well. I mean, you're adapting a short children's book into a feature-length film. Like you had to stretch even in 1966 to make the 20-minute version. But yeah, I do think the 1966 version is the best version of the Grinch. That's at the top of my most years list, and then under that is It's Christmas, Charlie Brown. Another cute one. Oh, dang it. I forgot. On the set, I was going to set up my little Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but I forgot to.
Oh. I thought you were going to say you forgot to put your Santa hat on.
I think like headphones and Santa hat would look weird.
I wanted headphones to put over the beanie. I thought that would be so funny.
And then underneath the Charlie Brown Christmas special is The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Okay. Yeah.
It is very like late 90s, early 2000s.
I'll concur. That is a very nostalgic movie for me.
Yeah.
That is on my most years.
There's a lot of like weird fat shaming and jokes in there, which is kind of weird, but it's also a late 90s, early 2000s flick.
It is a terrifying concept. If you stop and think about it for even like a second, the whole premise that like if you kill Santa, like you become him and the elves are just like cool with it. I did see, because they've got a Santa Claus TV show.
Yeah, they retconned some stuff.
I saw like an article about it that like they retconned that like apparently he didn't kill Santa and it was all part of a retirement plan or something. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm fine with that. But
okay,
yeah, it's a weird movie, but I like Tim Allen. He doesn't do anything nowadays. I think blacklisted for being a Republican was the last I heard of him.
Maybe. I don't know. He's still doing stuff on TV.
Is he?
Yeah.
Huh. I just know that he goes into hibernation until the next Toy Story comes out. and then he pops back up. But no, I don't know much about him. I heard, I don't actually know why he got canceled. I just saw some articles and like a true pursuer of truth.
You just read the headlines?
I was like, I like this guy, so I'm not going to read what he did wrong because I don't want to be like, oh, one of my favorite Christmas movies, unwatchable. Toy Story, unwatchable.
Oofta. I'm going to have to speed it up because we're going to reach 30 minutes before we even start talking about music.
Okay.
So under the Santa Claus, we have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the stop-motion animated one. Mm-hmm. Elf, we talked about that earlier. Spirited, that one's pretty good. It's a musical starring Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It's on Apple TV Plus.
That came out last year, didn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We rewatched it Sunday, so 2 days ago, and I think I found more problems in it this time, but it's good. It's a solid 3-star movie.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that.
The Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol, that's pretty good. And
That's
then
a good one.
Arthur Christmas should be in every year or higher up on the list. Arthur Christmas is good, man.
I watched it once, so I need to watch it again. I think that's kind of my goal for this year, especially since I'm unemployed. I think I'm just going to try to watch a Christmas movie every day while Katie's at school and I'm just home doing nothing.
look forward to watching your Letterboxd.
I need to update it. I watched Prince of Egypt for the first time yesterday.
That one's good too.
It is good. This is totally a side tangent. I'm going to do this quick. Is my TV broken or is Prince of Egypt the darkest movie I've ever watched?
You might be broken. I don't remember it being that dark.
Like there were like, I feel like 50% of the shots, all you could see were just the characters' eyes and like their faces were totally obscured in shadow.
Interesting.
But I looked up a scene on YouTube afterwards for comparison. I was like, no, it's pretty dark here too.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
You might need to change the picture mode on your TV then.
I might need to. Anyway, back to the subject.
Okay, some years. Home Alone. I actually don't like Home Alone.
I don't really either.
It's too violent for me. Like anything where you like anyway, I don't have to go into it.
I don't know. I think it's a fun movie. I enjoy it, but it's
just the family's mean to each other. The kid should have done so many other things just to avoid the wet bandits.
The problem is that, they describe his family as being like...
They're horrible.
They're horrible. There's nothing the family does to redeem themselves. The only thing that changes is he is lonely without them.
Yeah.
It is a toxic relationship.
I miss my abusers.
No, literally. It's because he's alone and he's scared, and so he misses his family.
Yeah, he's home alone.
Exactly. But in the beginning, he's thrilled. And the only reason he stops being thrilled is because grown men are trying to break into his home. It's one of those movies where when they reunite at the end, I'm like, I don't really feel anything.
4 more on my some years list. Actually 5. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That stop motion. A little too trippy.
1 foot in
front
of the other.
It's a little too 70s for me.
Yeah. It's
Patrick Stewart's version of A Christmas Carol. Solid. Pretty good. It's a Wonderful Life. I actually really like It's a Wonderful Life. It's just too long to be a every year commitment for me.
How long is it?
It's like 3 hours.
Jeez.
Polar Express.
Oh,
That's like an elementary school nostalgia.
I've just got to
for
go
me.
off your list is because like I forgot about so many of these, but you're basically just, I don't think you've said anything that I don't agree with.
Okay. And then finally, the Cartoon Network classic, Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer.
I never seen that.
You're not missing much. It's just like nostalgia, little neuron firing in the back of my brain.
You know what Christmas special I do like from Cartoon Network, now that you think of it? The Adventure Time Christmas special. That one is good for a couple of reasons. One, Finn and Jake's treehouse was always like the coolest place when I was a kid. I was like, man, I wish I could live in a treehouse. And the way they depicted it, it was like the ultimate like bro hangout spot. And then on the Christmas episode, it's like snowing outside, so they're just inside and they're wearing sweaters. And it's always fun when cartoon characters wear different outfits than they normally do. I always loved that when I was a kid.
Model
yeah, and so they were like wearing Christmas sweaters, and I was like, yes. But it's also the first episode that adds lore into Adventure Time, which I know Tama, for instance, he stopped watching Adventure Time when they added lore because he doesn't really like in-depth TV shows. He likes more like fun.
But he loves Marvel.
But cartoons. He likes his cartoons to just be fun.
So he's not a Gravity Falls enjoyer?
I don't think so, no.
Bruh.
He just likes like regular show kind of. I don't actually know if he's watched regular show, but just like those kind of shows that are just like there's no consequences and every episode like starts and finishes. You can watch anytime. But the Adventure Time episode is the first episode where they start going into like the Ice King's lore and background. That's like the first time they reveal there's more to him.
I'm going to need to reset the camera here in a minute, but before I do, Tama, you need to come on the podcast and defend yourself, brother.
I had 2 people ask to be on the podcast last night. So we need to get more guests.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back.
Never before have so many known so little about a subject so big.
There was a turtle by the name of...
I think Christmas movies is an interesting genre because every year there are Christmas movies that are made, but I feel like the quality just keeps going down in terms, like, I don't feel like, I don't know. And one of the problems is, and it's one of the biggest problems with Christmas too, is that it isn't a holiday that's, for me and for a lot of people, almost entirely built on nostalgia.
Yeah.
It is all about that feeling you had when you were a kid, what you associate with it. And so for that reason, it becomes really hard to find new Christmas media as you get older, because when you experience it, you are not filled with that same.
I think it can be. I think there are some movies that are on my list just because of nostalgia, but things like Klaus, which are new, like that's good.
I did actually really like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
I did too, but I don't think I care about Marvel enough to have it in my rotation.
My problem is that I really liked it. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy a lot. My biggest problem with Marvel right now is the more projects that come out, the less sensible it feels like it is to rewatch a Marvel project.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it's like I'm too busy trying to watch all the new stuff. I can't be thinking about rewatching stuff I've already seen.
Yeah, like I think the only Marvel stuff that I would ever, well, not ever, but want to watch right now is like Infinity and War and Endgame, just because they're really good. I quite like them.
I haven't seen those since they came out, so I've been thinking about rewatching the first Avengers recently because I watched it like 3 years ago, and I just remember being like, this movie feels so different from what Marvel is now.
I did the same thing, but with Iron Man.
Oh yeah,
it's Iron Man does not feel like it belongs in the MCU.
Or the first Captain America movie where he doesn't put
a good movie.
He doesn't put on the suit until like an hour and 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen now.
I think it just kind of reflects the design philosophy. We're not even talking about Christmas.
Yeah,
right?
that's okay.
Moving on. Sorry.
Christmas music. Christmas music is, I've seen some controversial opinions about this as I get older. I don't want to talk about Marvel movies again, but we'll just do movies in general.
Okay.
You know how like there's that trend on like Twitter and like social media where it's like 6 months after an insanely popular movie comes out, like people start coming out on Twitter like, actually, Across the Spider-Verse wasn't that good. And it's like, what?
But you loved it.
But you were like raving about, like, aside, complete. That's done. That's all I'm gonna say about it. That's how I feel like some people are with Christmas music, where
Okay.
like, but it's just like overexposure. Like they've listened to it so many years in a row that they're like, oh, I hate Christmas music now.
I'm not about it.
No.
By not being about it, I mean I'm not about the hate. I love Christmas music.
Christmas music. I do not like modern Christmas music.
What do you define as modern Christmas music?
Any celebrity who sings a song and adds nothing to it other than they are a celebrity.
So are you including people who are celebrities because they're singers?
I'm talking about like Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, I guess singer celebrities. Like
yeah.
celebrities who are like arguably more famous because of the popularity of their songs and not because they're actually like talented and like good.
Okay. I can see that to a point, but I like Christmas music, modern Christmas music that doesn't stray too far from the classics, right?
Yeah.
Like Michael Bublé, for example.
I still feel like that's older school though. That's
At this point, yeah.
when I say modern Christmas music, I'm talking about like post 2010.
Okay.
Like, I'm a traditional music guy. Like even like I enjoy a lot of classical music more than like most like modern like pop music. So like traditional music, like give me Andy Williams, give me Nat King Cole.
Mhm.
Like that's the kind of like realm that I like to be in. Just Carpenters.
Yeah. I think you should have a lot of that in your playlist for sure, your Christmas music playlist. But ooh, lava lamp's moving.
Finally,
Nice. But there are newer versions that I like better than the old ones, like Michael Bublé's Christmas album, for example. I love that one. Echo Smith has some really good covers that sound pretty traditional, but they're just a little bit of a reimagining.
My problem is I don't really like the peppy Christmas as much. I kind of like I like the Christmas music that you could fall asleep next to a fireplace listening to, like background music. That's kind of like that's my pocket that I'm like happiest. Like
My favorite version of All I Want for Christmas is a lo-fi remix of it.
Yeah, I don't like that song.
Not even you should listen to the lo-fi remix.
The lo-fi remix, I probably
really like it.
I don't like. Let's talk about songs we don't like for a second. I'll give you a list because I'm pretty. I like Christmas songs, but there are a couple I don't like.
Okay.
And they follow the same pattern. All I Want for Christmas Is You. I don't like. Santa Baby. I don't like. Those are the ones that are coming off the top of my head.
Okay.
I don't really like. First of all, and this is another thing where me and my wife have a huge disagreement on with Santa Baby. I do not like the sexualization of Santa Claus.
No, I think I like Eartha Kitt. I think she's good, but I agree. It's not one of my favorites.
And the song is fine because it's really her singing to her husband, who is Santa, saying, "I want you to buy me all this expensive stuff for Christmas."
It also just doesn't quite fit with my personal tastes in Christmas and vibes.
I know. And it's my wife's number one favorite Christmas song of all time.
What?
I know. And I just, I do not like it in the slightest. It just, I don't know, like.
Another one is Baby It's Cold Outside. I have really mixed feelings about that one.
Depends on who's singing it. Like, and also
you can't get around the fact that it's date rapey though.
I know.
When she says the answer is no, but baby it's cold out. She said no. Okay.
I know. That one's controversial because it's hard to tell context in a song. Like you don't know the relationship between these two people. You don't know who they are. Like regardless of what the subtext, regardless of the tone, because that's another thing when you're singing, you can't really hear tone. And I don't think that tone, like I think that's a dangerous territory when people are like, well, it's the way that they say no. Maybe they don't mean it. I think that's a dangerous area to go into.
No is no.
No is no. But it's, so it just makes it a complicated song. And it's not really one that's even in my playlist anyway, so I'm okay either way.
I think my least favorite is like My Favorite Things.
That doesn't feel like a Christmas song.
It's not.
Isn't it like a Mary Poppins song?
I don't know, but it's not a Christmas song, but they still play it around Christmas. Like it's on the radio. I don't know how it got in there.
My issue is that my least favorite Christmas song of all time, maybe not all time, but one that I just absolutely hate, My problem is I don't know what the name is, and I'm not gonna sing it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it out there. But when I worked at a grocery store, it was on their Christmas playlist, and it would play, and it drove me crazy.
I just have two more things to add to music because we'll need to move on pretty quick to talk about traditions. We could talk about music for a lot longer, but our recording mediums will fill up too fast. Anyway,
You want to talk about the Wham?
I will talk about that in a minute. But like generally my Christmas music vibe, I gravitate towards like the cold, like winter night ones, like Carol of the Bells. Let's see, what else? There's a bunch.
Well, yeah, I love I kind of like the cryptic like Christmas vibe, like I was even telling you about that song earlier, Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabel, like that. That's like a total like
Yeah, the minor key, the kind of darker feel, the wintry vibe. Yeah.
You want to know one that is upbeat that I do like?
Sure.
Katie doesn't though. Marshmallow World.
I don't know this one.
I don't think a lot of people do, but my dad really likes it and he plays it, and it itches that spot in your brain because the guy who sings it with such a funny voice that it's just like so funny. He's like, "It's a marshmallow world in the winter."
I like a couple novelty Christmas songs. Like there's one that I have on my Christmas playlist that's mostly nostalgia, but it's called Chiron Beta Prime.
That does not sound like a Christmas song at all.
I think it originates in like a YouTube, like early YouTube guy who would do a song a week. But it's good. I like it. It's mostly nostalgia, I recognize, but it's a goofy one.
Nostalgia is not bad. And I think nostalgia for Christmas, like you hear all the time about like people like video games and movies where they're like, you're being blinded by nostalgia. I don't think it's a bad thing to be blinded by nostalgia for Christmas. If you enjoy Christmas because of nostalgia, it doesn't matter if, well, it was better when you were younger. Hold on to that feeling.
Yeah.
There's no reason to not feel good. And video games too, honestly. I'll extend it to that. Like if you enjoy something, you love it the most because
Sonic Unleashed. Let's go.
Because of nostalgia, hold on to that. It's not a bad feeling. Nostalgia can be a good thing. I think so many people nowadays are like, you're blinded by nostalgia. I would happily be blinded by nostalgia for Christmas for the rest of my life if it means I get to keep enjoying it.
I enjoy nostalgia.
I don't want to be some bitter old person like, oh, it's a commercialized holiday about spending money.
Yeah. All right. Last thing about music before we move on. An Englishman recently taught me a game, shout out to you, Nicholas, called the Wham game, where the objective is to go all of December without hearing that Christmas song by Wham.
I thought you were going to say the game is to go all of December without listening to Christmas music.
No. Just the one song by Wham.
What's the song called?
Okay.
It's not December yet, so I could play it.
So the song is Last Christmas, I Gave You My Heart. The very next day you gave it away. That song.
Oh, that's the song?
That's the song.
That's another one I don't like.
The objective is to avoid that song all of December. That is the Wham game that was taught to me by the Englishman Nicholas. So, people at home, participate. Let's see how long you can go without hearing that song by Wham, which I will not name.
Except you already did name it.
I did, but it's also not quite December for us yet. But for those listening,
do you lose if you name it?
No, but
you don't want to conjure it into being. Just by, you're like Katie. She's so like I don't want to manifest that. It's
no. It's mostly that I don't actually know what the name of the song is. Is it Last Christmas or is it? I don't know.
I actually don't.
I don't know.
Either.
So I'm just trying to feign
feign
my knowledge.
No, that's fair. I don't like that song.
Yeah.
It's so hard to avoid songs though. If you go to a mall, you're at the mercy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I don't work at a grocery store anymore, or else this game would be impossible.
That's true. That makes it easier to play.
Yeah.
All right.
Time to talk about traditions.
Traditions for Christmas.
Traditions. I have a lot. My family does a lot for Christmas, all December, actually.
My family used to do a lot. My family's in that sad stage right now where there's only one child living at home.
Yeah.
And so some of the traditions are starting to fall by the wayside, but we're doing all we can to keep them. But it's like, it's just one of those parts about growing up. And
I still do them at my place too. I try and keep them going myself.
and they still do some of them, but we'll get into them and we'll talk about it.
Okay. So probably my favorite one, and one I think is kind of unique, is my mom has a binder, like a Christmas binder full of short stories. And every night in December, we would come together as a family and she would read one of these stories. And then we would flip our little advent calendar that has a little rhyme for every day. And we would do that every year, every night.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. Christmas is one of the only reasons I want to have kids right now. Like, I want like there's so many traditions that like I'm just not unemployed. I know that I'm just not really willing to do like by myself. And like it's not even really that it's not as good with yourself. It's just like things are just so much better when you have like a starry-eyed child to like expose it to and be like Christmas, and they can just be like,
you get to live vicariously through them enjoying this for the first time.
I am going to go so hard for Christmas when I have kids, but that's super fun. I think the most unique tradition we had in our family, because there's a lot of traditions I feel like kind of sprinkle through families, but then there's also like a couple that are like pretty unique to a family. I think ours is it originated with my mom's family because her maiden name was Doman. So they did this tradition called Nomen Domen.
Okay.
Where it was kind of like it was a Secret Santa esque tradition where on the 12th of December, you would draw names out of a cup, and the person's name you got was your Secret Santa. And so on the 12th day, so on Christmas Eve, you would make a gift of self for them. And it's not like something you get with money. So like, let's say you wanted a Wii U for Christmas.
Which I did.
Which you did. I wouldn't be able to get that for you as my gift of self because that's it's a monetary purchase. It's like gift of self for example, like my dad made this like binder of like cheap dating ideas and it's like some of them are pretty funny. There's like a jump rope date and then like the subtitle's like, actually that's a horrible idea. Don't do that. But my brother made like a wooden box for my mom and like wood burnt like an orca whale into it. So like just like gifts like from the heart that like you worked on. I did like a Photoshop collage for my brother one year. So that's the end of it. But then the reason it's called Nomen Domen is you're probably wondering because there's nothing to do with gnomes so far.
Yeah.
Each of the 12 days leading up to Christmas, you do like acts of service.
Okay.
For the person that you...
And you like leave a gnome?
Yeah, we had these little like gnomes. And so like you would make their bed or you would like leave some food out or you would just do something. I can't remember what they all were. Like you'd leave candy out or...
When did gnomes become associated with Christmas?
I don't know, but I love it. I love gnomes, and Katie hates.
I don't
this
get
episode
it,
is just me saying I love this, and my wife hates.
Well, I don't like it either.
You don't like gnomes?
I just don't know why. Like, where did it come from? I just noticed them everywhere. Like a year or two ago.
No, the reason that gnomes are associated with Christmas is because red caps are confused for Santa hats, and they have white beards sometimes. So I think it's really easy because they fit the aesthetic.
All right.
They have nothing to do with it, but they fit the aesthetic. And I'm okay with it. I like gnomes. And my mom's family is obsessed with gnomes. That's Nomen Domen.
Yeah.
But you would leave like and also most of them weren't even gnomes. They were like little like Christmas elves.
Okay.
But,
Elf on the Shelf, not doing it.
No. Hate Elf on the Shelf. You know, I didn't know before that Elf on the Shelf is a recent thing. The way that it's marketed and the way that like the packaging is and the way the elf looks, I thought this was some like tradition.
Time-honored tradition
from like the 80s that like my family just didn't do. And I was talking to my wife and she was like, "Oh no, like it like came out in like 2010." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, we're not doing that.
I don't like it. What I do like is my wife's family did this. We never did it, but I want to do this is Santa Tracker.
Oh yeah.
You know about Santa Tracker?
Yeah. My brother, he does it every day. I look at it occasionally because it's just fun. Google does a new thing. Oh, are we doing different Santa trackers?
No.
Are you doing the NORA Santa tracker? The NORAD?
I think that is the one.
Okay.
That my wife just. I haven't done it before. I don't know anything about it.
I recommend Google's Santa Tracker because they do like an advent calendar thing for every day of December. They do a game.
Okay, because I was going to say the Santa Tracker that I wasn't aware that they did things before the 24th. I just knew that the Santa Tracker goes active on the 24th and it shows like where he is in the world.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Katie about that. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that because like, it's like, what if like he's like over our house? And she's like, oh no, like they schedule it so he like shows up at like 4 a.m. like everywhere he goes. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. But
Santa Tracker's cool. I love it.
Yeah, that's one I want to carry on. Tradition that my family did that I want to do is waiting on the stairs on Christmas morning.
Okay.
And then we have the same song we play every year, which is The Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Andy Williams,
okay.
I believe. That's the one, you know what I'm talking about, the one that comes in with the bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
It's the most.
Yeah, I got you.
That is the most hyped Christmas song. Like, because there's a lot of good Christmas songs, but they don't all start with a bang. When you're sitting there tense in silence and you hear the bam, like even to this day, when I hear that song come on the radio, like I get like
giddy.
I get like a jolt of adrenaline. Like
nice.
Every time. I love that. I'm definitely gonna. It's the best song to do it for, and it's like you hear it, and that's your signal to just start running. And it's so one of the funny things about that song and about that tradition is that when we were little, it was painful because you know we would be on the stairs. My parents would get up. They would have to set up the camera. They'd have to set up the lights. It would take like 10, 15 minutes. We're waiting there.
I'm gonna be. Like people are not going to tolerate me at Christmas because I'm a film guy.
No, I'm hoping to do the same. But what I'm saying is nowadays with iPhone, like my parents just get out and then they get the iPhone ready and like it's like, oh, we're already going. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
We do an order. So we don't have a Christmas song that plays. My parents just say, all right, come on down. And how it used to be was it was oldest to youngest because
that sounds painful.
It is now. I enjoyed it when I was younger, but like
because you were the oldest.
Yeah.
Of course you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, and my siblings don't seem to mind it, and now they actively campaign for it. So like I've been married for almost 3 years now.
It'll be 3 years for us this May.
Dang.
I know.
But we've been
3 years for us. Was it like we were married?
Listeners, for context, we got married a week apart.
A week apart.
Yeah.
So I was at his wedding, but he wasn't at his
because I was in Belize. Anyway, so we're home for Christmas now, Corinne and I, here, because we do, like, my family does stuff earlier in the morning than hers. And I'm like...
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Also, your families are close.
Yeah, they are. They're like 10 minutes away.
We'll talk about this in a bit. I hate splitting Christmas. Back to you.
Yeah. So I've tried to get them to... just exclude me from the line or at least have me go last. Because my parents still have a Santa gift for like me and Corinne down there. But I don't live here. I am a married adult. My little brother who still lives here should go first, but nobody will hear it. I am forced to go first.
It's a really interesting tradition. And it brings me into my next point, which is another thing about... One of the interesting things about being married is that clash of traditions and finding out what you want to keep. And
my family does way more.
Oh, my family does way more than Katie's too, but there are some she wants to do. One of the biggest differences between mine and Katie's family is not really so much tradition, but it is my next point, which is patience or lack thereof.
Okay.
Because you were talking about how your family would go down one at a time. That would absolutely not fly in Katie's family, which is one of the things I don't love about the way they do Christmas is that it is a free-for-all. They go downstairs and they can open whatever presents.
There's not an order
They're
or anything.
done in 30 minutes.
That's sad.
And Katie's like, we're not going to wait. Because the way my family does it, we kind of do best of both worlds.
Okay.
Our Santa gifts, I don't know how you do it. Our Santa gifts aren't wrapped.
Ours aren't either.
Okay. So when we go downstairs and we all go down, we don't do one at a time.
We go in order, but we all go at once. So like I'm at the front, then my sister, then my brother.
Okay. I wish you would have specified that.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I thought it was like you go down, open your presents, and they're here, and you go, whoa, we.
No, that defeats the purpose.
Okay.
I think I see where you're going with this because I love to see the reactions of my family members to
Yes.
what they get and what I give them.
That's exactly where I'm going. And but Santa gifts, you get the best of both worlds because you get down there and you get hit with that like, you know, just overload of like, whoa, I can't process how much stuff. When I got a Switch for Christmas, I didn't even realize it at first because it was like being used to support the rest of the gifts. The box was, and then I was like, oh, what the?
Yeah.
And it was so exciting. And Katie's family wraps the Santa gifts. She wants to wrap Santa gifts for our kids. I'm fine to let her do that because she really enjoys wrapping gifts for some reason. It's not how I would do it, but that's one of the compromises I'm willing to make.
Alrighty.
But the one compromise I'm not willing to make is kids open gifts in turn.
Yeah.
They take turns opening gifts. Her family, no, they all open their gifts one at a time. I think that is, and she disagrees with me on this, but I think that once we have kids on our own, she will change her mind because when you are the one buying those gifts, you want to see their reaction to it. Of course. You don't want to turn around and be like, oh, did you see what Santa gave you? Like, oh, the new iPhone? Yeah, I opened that first. Like, oh, okay.
It also makes it a lot harder to record. Like my dad, he's a couple years behind, but he would usually edit together a Christmas video.
Kids will be taking turns. And it's not even just because the selfish parent reason of you want to see them react to what you got. I think that's a very important lesson in patience. Like, I think it just
adds to like the sentimentality of it because it also lets you experience a little bit of empathy as well because you get to see how excited they are at this gift they received.
And Christmas is not about getting gifts. It is about being together. It's about spending time. You know, everyone says it's more about giving. As a kid, you will say that. You will repeat it if you hear like, Christmas is more about giving. When you're a kid, all you care about is getting the presents. Like, let's be real. That's what you're most excited for. But I think it is important, and it does teach empathy and patience. And I think if you just let your kids run wild and just open, like, I don't know. That's just my...
Yeah. My family will do a drive through the city's Christmas lights display. We'll bring hot chocolate and we'll bring
We used to drive around
oranges.
and look at Christmas lights. We don't. That's another one of those things that now that all my siblings are gone, we don't do. But
yeah. Christmas lights. This is something Corinne and I disagree on a little bit. I like all Christmas lights. I want to put that out there. But I also have a soft spot for the multicolor lights. Corinne is like warm white light only. Mostly because blue LEDs and blue lights, like her eyes don't like them.
I'm on Corinne's side on this apparently. White and red lights. I like white.
She likes those too.
Multicolored for this setup right now, I love the vibe. That Christmas tree right there, that's it's okay. Our Christmas tree we have right now is multicolored. I don't love it. I don't know. I think that multicolored lights can serve a purpose in some instances as like a decoration. For a Christmas tree and for a house, multicolored are bottom tier for me.
Okay. Any other traditions you want to talk about? We've got 2 minutes.
Yeah. For Christmas Eve, my family does Feast of the Seven Fishes. So we make salmon, clam chowder, seared scallops, fried oysters, cocktail shrimp. I think we're doing crab cakes. And this year we're going to try calamari rings.
Oh,
so that's the 7.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot. We do, as I mentioned, tortellini.
Yeah.
And then we open pajamas in a book usually.
That's fun. I don't ever want to be the family that just does Thanksgiving part 2 for Christmas, you know? Like I don't know. I don't like the roast ham aesthetic for Christmas.
My grandma makes a good ham. I've got a soft spot for it. But like ham is associated with Christmas for me and not Thanksgiving. Turkey's Thanksgiving for me.
Okay.
But well, we are unfortunately out of time. I could talk about Christmas for a lot longer. But thank you, listener. We appreciate the like 4 of you that we have consistently.
We're 2 of them.
Well, I know my aunt listens.
Oh,
she's in Taiwan.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to our podcast and enjoying this kind of cozy season. We appreciate you and hope you have a wonderful holiday. Anything you want to add, Aidan, about Christmas?
Just have a Merry Christmas, and Christmas is better than all the other holidays.
Oh, I agree. It's my favorite. We wish you a very Merry Christmas. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify. We will be back in January. It's just December and it's going to be busy.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you very much. Merry Christmas and farewell.
Merry Christmas.